Welcome everybody. I'll show the screen here in just a moment, making some last minute adjustments, getting my equipment ready to go, and looking forward to moving with you. So not need much today. We're gonna use our cardio equipment, obviously, and the rest is good on a mat. And you'll probably want to take off your shoes later, but if you want to start with your shoes on, that's not a problem. And we are going to start off of your equipment, which is a little, but I like doing that a little warm up and then getting onto the equipment afterward with one of the other classes. So we're going to do that again. And let's see if we can find, there we are. All right, just checking in, looking good to see what we can see here. And let's get started. Glasses go off. Only this little bit of room to see behind my camera in this space. I don't have a real wide room. Welcome everybody to Mindful Cardio, and we're going to get our workout in. I've got my step here, but let's start again with that, what I call the standing so as wake up. Um, I used it in my last class. If you want to go back one, today we're going to keep that theme of sleep going. So this will be part 3 of Why We Sleep, and it's based on a book and a podcast I've been listening to. The podcast is very much in depth, so if you're not wanting to read the book, you could do that. But I'll come back to that in a moment. So let's work on how do we warm up a little bit through the core here. And really, I'm working on those very deep um, core muscles, but they're kind of underneath all these layers here. And it is one of our hip flexors, right? That psoas is. So if I'm going to come up, maybe I've got a block, maybe I've got a couple blocks. Right here, I've got my step. I'm getting pretty close to coming up to 90, but I'm probably going to come up even more. And again, grab onto a chair, or if you've got your stationary bike there, you could use that. And I'm going to lift that leg up and just going to hold it there. But what I'm noticing, and what you notice if you're on your back, is that we don't move our pelvis as much if we're lying on our back. So if your pelvis were on the wall or or if you were lying down, what would your pelvis do when you brought your leg up? And sometimes that default is to tip the pelvis under. And you can watch me do that if you haven't seen it. Like I'm going to pull under so I can lift that knee up higher. But no, let's see if I can come from a normal pelvic position here, bring the knee up and hold. And I'm going to just bring that up and see how long I can try to be up there without, of course, I'm using those hip flexors. That's what they do. And they're working hard there. Now let's take the toes out and under the knee, out just a little bit. I'm not trying to straighten my leg, so notice that. I'm trying to keep my knee as high as I can without tucking my tail under. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring that leg back, swing it back, touch your toes back behind you. Notice how I'm letting my torso go along as they go back further. Bring that knee up and back and up and back. You can find the toes on the floor and up and back, up and back, up and back, and up and back. I'm going to keep it back there, maybe not quite as far. You can see my foot back here. I'm going to see if I can find the toes, the ball of the foot, and push down a little bit through the ball of the foot. Maybe a little through my heel, but really kind of finding the floor. I want to feel nice and solid, and I'm hanging on here. So I'm not trying to make this about balance. I want to feel nice and strong through the front of the body here, and a little bit of lengthening now those hip flexor muscles. And notice if you're, feeling a lot in your back or something like that, maybe you're going to relax that a little bit more. Maybe you're going to see what's happening with your pelvis a little bit. Can you pull your belly in to support? Nice deep breath. stepping forward, and just seeing how that feels side to side, one foot, the other foot. Is there a something you sense right away here as we stand? Even now, few seconds in, almost 30 seconds in, I can sense that difference, one side, the other. Eventually, that's going to go away because the brain will want to make us feel symmetrical. Let's go to the other side, though. So I'm hanging on still. You can do this with your hands at the waist if you'd like. And we're going to bring that knee up. And we're going to notice when I bring my knee up, if I'm trying to get to 90 degrees, and maybe you're not, just notice how far can I go without tucking my tail, keeping the pelvis in neutral, belly turned on, knee can come up, and we're going to hold. Holding here. Oh, one side very different than the other for me today. One side got very tired very quickly. This side, not so much for some reason. I'm going to try to keep this hip. Also, the other thing we can do is kind of lift that hip up. So you might notice I'm not tucking my tail, but I'm lifting my hip up in order to bring my knee up. Hip stays down, knee comes up, toes out and under, toes out and under, toes out and under, out and under, out and under, out. Remember, I'm not trying to straighten my leg. I'm just kind of reaching out with the shin, trying to keep my knee up. Let's pause out there. Ooh, 3, 2, 1. Bring that leg back behind you. Find the floor. Bring the knee up. Find the floor. Bring the knee up. Floor. Or maybe you're reaching that leg back a little bit. Back, up, back, up. Finding the floor and up. One more like that. And then we're going to find the floor again. And we're going to make that contact with the floor, ball of the foot. See, I'll do it this way you can see my foot, ball of the foot on the floor, toes spread out. And I really want to push down through that back foot. Really nice straight leg is happening there. And I'm not coming forward too much. In fact, I want to see, can I pull myself into a nice erect spine, right? Can I find that nice length there? Breathe. Notice if I'm curving a lot in the low back, if I'm trying to do something funky in the pelvis, pushing back through that back foot. One more breath, pulling everything up in the front here, and stepping the feet together again and noticing how that feels. Forgot to start my watch. Now we'll need to guess. Okay, but I know what time it is. So doing my math to get me to the right spot. Um, yes. We've probably been at this 5 minutes, right? We're going to go with that. Go ahead and start your cardio. So get onto your um, rower or your bike. All right. Double check to see about what I thought. A little more than 5 minutes. But maybe you, like me, are feeling a little more connected. A lot of these practices, a lot of the cardio we do involves this connection of legs to the torso. So I like giving myself a little warm up, right? Kind of like a warm up, getting in good alignment to start. So if you're on your bike, you're going to be in that position a lot of that um, flexion in the knee or in the hip, excuse me, knees too. And then check in with your heart rate monitor. Maybe you're using a watch. Maybe you have the strap around center using Strava, some other app, maybe the app on your phone. If you haven't tried it yet, try it. It's amazing to see how our body adapts day to day to what we've done the day before. If we don't sleep as well, maybe we don't have to move as fast to get to our zone 2 that day. Maybe we've got to kind of tamp it down. Stress, sleep, trying to think of other things, being ill, those will all play into. So even though we might say, well, I always walk this pace and this is just what I do, we can't always be sure we're right in the zone we think we are. And sometimes our perceived effort or how much we're exerting, we think is more than we actually are doing. So it can be also that other end of it. Like we think we're working really hard and we're not really into that zone yet. Good. So settling in, keeping our practice mindful. Whatever you're doing with your body, in the big muscle sense of the words, the arms and the legs, see if you can relax your face. I'm guessing you don't need your face to turn the pedal or to push on the platform that slides the seat back on the rower or to pull. A softening in the face, noticing the breath. Is it easy? Noticing your grip, wherever the hands might be landing. If you're doing step work like I am, maybe you've got some weights in your hands. Feel those weights in the hands. So not just the weight of them, maybe you can feel the texture. We're going to keep coming back to sensations in the body today. And if it's helpful for you, maybe checking in with the face often, furrowing the brow, clenching the teeth, noticing if those things creep in. And then wondering if you could invite a smile, even when it's uncomfortable. Something might be uncomfortable as we get going. All right. Ooh, I hit mine. Let that go over that way. So, why we sleep, part three. So many parts. We could just keep going. There's a lot to cover. And like I said, I've really enjoyed the conversation on the podcast, the Huberman Lab, and I've been double like looking at other sites where there are summaries and also a masterclass by the author of that book. I believe his name is Matthew Walker. So, why we sleep, part three. Two rules, two rules of thumb to know if we're sleeping enough. I thought this was very simple. Still in the body, still checking in with the face, being right here, right now. If you haven't already gotten into your zone two, let's go ahead and get there. We've been warming up a little bit. It's great. Two rules of thumb. One, if you could easily go back to sleep at 10 or 11 a.m. every day, or even often after you wake up, you're like, oh yeah, if I was allowed to sleep at 10, I'd be able to sleep pretty easily. You probably are deficient in sleep. So that's one. Up and over here. With the weights here today, I'm definitely noticing a little more effort for myself. Check in with my heart rate. It's pretty good still. Perceived effort is more than what my heart rate is, at least the last time the watch took that. Doesn't take it um, as simultaneously as the strap. Good. Other one, do you need caffeine in order to be functional before noon? To make it through the morning and be even in the game. I don't even know if you have to be at the top of your game. Do you need caffeine? If you do, or if not, if you can't make it through the morning without that caffeine, you're probably self medicating chronic sleep deprivation with that caffeine. Have you tried it? Have you tried the no caffeine life? Feel like there's very few of us sometimes. And yet, when it's just me and my daughter, who kind of know it's not the best thing for us, right? That's who I'm living with the most of the time now. Seems like it's normal. We don't, at least we haven't. I've had my love affairs with coffee. I do like it. I get a lot done when I have coffee, but I don't sleep well. Good. And I think that's an important piece too, is about that quality of sleep. Am I using sleeping pills to get to sleep? What is that sleep like? Is it interrupted? Bring my weights up for a little while. Otherwise, they're very heavy for my arms. Let's settle in to the body again. Really feeling yourself push on those pedals. Feel the hands, feel the air and the space around you on your skin. How's your face? We relax the face. You could pick a certain aspect of the face, the jaw, slack. Maybe you know where your tension spots are. Maybe it's the eyebrows or between the eyebrows that we furrow. So the other piece I want to talk about, maybe a couple pieces. One is about education, and there's a whole lot in the book about learning, creativity, and sleep. We know, I think, on some level that those are all good. But what I'm going to talk about is more um, teenagers, the and adolescents, and the sleep that our kids are losing, and the effects that's happening on them. Teens tend to wake up very early in our country due to needing to get to school. The data was 5:30 in the morning. I don't know how many kids are getting up at 5:30, but my kids has an alarm at 6. Um, and I think that would be true at the school she's at. That's true to get to school. Um, and if we were back in Wisconsin, that would be true as well. A couple days a week, she would have a 7 a.m. class. It's too early for those teens. So, adolescents are during your adolescence, you're most susceptible to those chronic illnesses, mental illnesses like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and suicidality. So, if that's the time when we're most susceptible, that's the population we least want to sleep deprive. So, we could delay the time that school starts for those teens. We would see greater attendance, especially for those first classes. We would see fewer behavioral and psychological problems, and there would be a decrease in substance and alcohol use. I don't know why we separate those substances, but we do. So, starting later so that we can have those benefits for our teens, mental health, and other positive effects. If you have a teen, or if you're on a school board, advocate for the health and well being of our teens. And I would say that starts in middle school. That starts age 12, 13, and upward. You kind of can see it if you are around those teens or those preteens. You got a 10 and or 11-year-old, they're up every Saturday morning, and then all of a sudden they're not. They turn 12, maybe 13, maybe 11, and they want to sleep. They're trying to make up for those early mornings. Last little tidbit about education and our kids. It's estimated that more than 50% of children with ADHD diagnoses have a sleep disorder or have disordered sleep. They're not getting enough sleep, and it's causing ADHD like symptoms. Would it cure them to have more sleep? I don't know. Probably case specific. All right, we had a lot go in for information. Keep Let's see what we're how we're doing on our heart rate. Mine's up, but sitting right there in a good spot. Zone 2. Zone 2. Noticing my body, kind of making some repetitive motions here. So are you. And in that repetition, can we drop in? Can we even let the brain just relax with the rest of the face. We don't have to chew over that information anymore. It's in. We can come back to it. We can look it up later. Softening, even in the brain. Softening in the jaw. Noticing our respiratory rate. You don't have to do anything with it. Just let it be. Can't wait to get my own rower. That'll be fun. Do a little something different. But stairs in my house have worked when I really needed to get outside on a really cold day, or I needed to get my exercise, I should say, on a really cold day. The stairs work. Just walked up and down the stairs, used a few other techniques. Good. Shall we keep going? Oh no, no, I didn't want you to do that. Oh, it's fine. All right. I'm gonna keep my heart rate going up at that level 2. Good. Healthcare. There's a little section in the this is from the notes that someone else took on the book, and it's about our healthcare system. One of the reasons I think becoming a doctor never really appealed to me was the expectations around sleep, around the grueling nature of learning the things you need to learn, and that we think that being sleep deprived is going to help prepare us for that profession. Maybe that's not everyone's experience. I know that I would have had to work very hard, both in my studies, but then just in the demanding hours of the rotation. Becoming medical professionals, 1 in 5 make big enough errors that they will need their liability insurance, right? They'll need their insurance um, in order to ward off any litigation. 1 in 5 during medical school as they're learning. And due to we can only imagine those mistakes, not all, but some due to lack of sleep, making judgment errors. 1 in 20 medical professionals, or I don't quote me. I was becoming medical professionals, so it might be folks in practice only. 1 in 20 can kill a patient due to lack of sleep. 1 in 20, that seems awfully high. So we think, yeah, we know that people might not be getting enough sleep, but 1 in 20 seems like a lot. How are we doing? Still in zone 2? Let's check in. Face is soft. Can sense my seat. If I was sitting, I can sense my seat on the seat of the bike or rowing machine, rower, and sense my feet. Good. Touching down. Medical errors are the third major cause of death behind cancer and heart attacks. Sleep relating to some of those, you bet. Again, we're trying to make life and death decisions, right? And we can't do that if we're not on our best, at our best, because we've slept enough. So, one of the recommendations is ask how much your surgeon has slept. That should be one of your big questions. And the other misconception that is in this section is that we can't learn to make up for the lost sleep. We can't train ourselves to be better on less sleep. So if you hear people saying, yeah, well, I can do it, no, I can drive a car, I can do all these things with less sleep, the literature doesn't support that. I think we have a false confidence about how much we really can do safely. And maybe it's only a matter of time for some of those things to catch up, right? So getting our sleep for the health care. How are we doing? Check in with that heart rate. I'm right in there. We have a few more minutes. Doing really well. How are you doing? Are you getting it in? Are you wanting to get your sleep? So there's some advice that we could use going forward. And I might do a part four. I might do a part four that's only about the tricks of the trade. How do we sleep? How can we make sure we sleep better, longer, and through all the stages of life? I know many of us that are on um, this platform, we aren't in our adolescence. And as we get older, that sleep becomes trickier and trickier. And yet, we can do things, right, to get that sleep. And one of the best things we can do is just get it regularly, stay on your schedule. And I find that to be so hard. I think part one, we talked a little bit about that. Another thing we could do is link our smartwatches. So many people have that ability now to see how much REM sleep did I get? How much deep sleep did I get? And we could link that to our lighting and our thermostats. A couple of things that keep us up, lights, and if our thermostats, if it's cooler in the room, we're going to sleep better. We could increase sleep awareness, talk about it at school, teach it at schools, teach this information about how we aren't going to perform as well. There's a section on performance, both intellectual and physical, sleep for restoring the body. Let's teach that. Let's let everybody know what they're giving up when they don't go to bed. We need to flex our work hours. Let the people decide when they're coming to work. Let the owls come in later. Let the early birds come in early. Work with people's schedule like that. Could we give health insurance benefits for more sleep? I know that they're doing that for fitness, right? Some companies and health insurance, if you're going to the gym, you can get discounts, right? Incentivize sleep in your businesses instead of saying the number of hours you are here shows your productivity. We know if you're sleeping 8 hours, you're going to be more productive. Make sure you're sleeping. And we have ways to show that. What if we did that in business? What if we prioritize that? All right, settling in, checking in with your heart rate. We are about ready to wind down. And we're going to do a little bit more on the mat before we say goodbye. So finishing up, couple, maybe one more minute here. Go ahead and check out your own time here. Pedal or row, starting to slow it down for one more minute. I'm going to slow it down too. Get rid of those weights. That was a lot of weight holding, but my heart rate was right in there. The higher my arms are. And then the face again. Let's go ahead and relax the face. Maybe a small smile begins in the mouth. Maybe you just let your jaw open up like a yawn, a little stretch. Okay, winding it down. And we're going to find ourselves on our mat. So if you've got shoes on, you might want to take them off. Might feel nice to do this work without the shoes on. If you feel like the shoes help for stability, you could keep them on. And I'm just going to move my step out of the way. And come to the mat. Good. Feet underneath me, spreading each foot out nice and broad, noticing what I notice. Noticing the body coming to a stiller place, and yet probably a lot moving in the body yet. So go ahead and notice there's lots going on. I've got definitely dewy, feeling a little sweaty, a little bit more humid here today. And I'm going to take the arms. Yeah, let's take them to genie position. And notice which arm is on the top because we're going to switch that in a moment. And coming to a bent position here, shins forward. Let's shift our weight, lifting one heel up and shifting to the other side. Lift the other heel. Come to the ball of the foot, nice and spread out with the toes. Spread, spread, spread. Come to that one side here. Come all the way up to the tippy toes. It's nice to feel the tops of the toes. When would we do that? Only if we were ballerinas. Let's lift that foot up if you're feeling nice and steady. Otherwise, you can grab that chair or keep your foot somewhat on the floor. Switch, come up to the tippy toes just to feel them. Lift. Good. Back down, back to the center, come up, switch the top arm, come back down, bend, switch, lift, lift, tap, lift. And you can keep your foot closer if you want. You can tap front and back, come back, center, lift. You can keep your foot up, up, or down, down. Good. Come back to center, switch, up, up, down, down. Come back to center one more time. Up, up, tap, tap, center, back to center, come up. Great. Walk to the back of your mat. Inhaling here. Exhale. Arms coming out and up. We're going to take everything in here, back, 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 rounding the spine, really pull back in the belly button area. And we're going to start to lean forward then through that nice reach, reach, reach with the spine, reach with the head, reach with the arms. We're going to take our time on this first one, all the way over, hands to the mat. You can always come all the way down to the knees here, or you can walk out without visiting the knees. Coming to plank position. Nice straight spine. If you'd like a little more challenge, you can reach through the heels, really straight legs. You can give a little bend to the elbows. We're going to pause here. Pulling up in the belly, pulling up around the rib cage. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pushing back, walking the hands back. And then let's roll up. Coming all the way to standing, take a nice deep breath. Exhaling, arms out and up. Forward. It's forward fold, but we're going to visit spine stretch on the way. Spine stretch, reaching back, arms reaching out. Coming down to the knees or walking the hands out without the knees coming down. Come to your plank. And this time we're going to let the knees come down pretty close to right where they are. So they're behind the hips. Coming to your knee down plank. And we're going to lower down. Elbows can go out or elbows could stay in. Lowering all the way down onto the belly. Good. Now I'm going to give a couple of options for your upper body here. And make sure my weights are out of my way. The upper body, you can decide, and you're going to be checking in with your low back in order to decide this. The further I lift my chest, the more strength I need in my low belly to keep that back supported. So if I bring my hands a little bit further up here in front of my shoulders and I push a little, I'm going to bring my core in. I'm going to find this nice spot to be here. And maybe I could bring my elbows right to that spot as well. So elbows are out, hands kind of down underneath my chin. And I'm feeling pretty good here with my back. If you'd like, you can try coming up another level. That would mean that maybe the elbows come in a little bit more. And now I've lifted a little more of my chest up. I'm going to have to use more of my core to support my back. Hands might come out front, a little bit more in a triangle here. And last option is elbows are pretty close to underneath the shoulders. I'm going to feel a lot more of my upper body up, pulling the belly up. Whichever arm situation you're in, I want you to feel like you can hold that because we're going to take their back leg, we're going to toe, heel, toe, and come back. Toe, heel, toe, and come back to the floor. Toe, heel, toe, and down. Toe, heel, toe, and down. Toe, heel, toe, back down. Toe, heel, toe, back down. The trick is our upper body isn't slumping as we come, as we work with the lower body. As the legs continue to kick, I'm still pushing down through the elbows. Wherever the elbows are, even if my chest is down, I want to keep that upper body working. Good. Toe, heel, toe, toe, heel, toe, toe, heel, toe. Good. Let's bring those arms all the way back and around, nose toward the floor. We're going to bring your legs together and we're going to try 3 kicks and extend. Extend and lift the nose, lift the hands. The hands can be palms upward here. Come back down. Turn your head to one side. Kick 3 times. Turn your head back to the center. Reach out through the feet and out through the top of the head, lifting into a locust. Come back down. Turn your head. 3 kicks. 3. Nose toward the floor. Lift. Nose toward the side. 3 kicks. Nose toward the floor. Lift. Turn your head to the side. 3 kicks. And back up. Hold in your locust position. Take a nice deep breath. Nice straight legs, head reaching out, vision toward the floor. Bring your hands around, push up, and we'll come to child's pose. Coming to that child's pose, we can take the back into that nice rounded position. So if you want, you could come up a little bit on your knees and really round as much as you can into that low back part. Not so much the upper back, but can we round in the lower back? Belly pulling up. Good. All right. Come on up to seated. And then stick the feet out in front. Take one leg across. If your other leg wants to also bend, you could do that. I'm going to keep my leg out straight today. Coming across. Or if that leg doesn't come across, it can come right in close to that other leg on the inside. So either inside or outside. Sitting up as nice and tall as you can. Bring your opposite arm around to hug the knee. Opposite arm to the knee. Good. And you'll notice then, where is your chest automatically going? Is it going to go away from your knee, or is it going to kind of come along toward that knee? Yeah. And then you can bring your other arm back behind you a little bit. A little bit of a twist. Don't push the twist. See if you can find softness in the face again. Breath, breath. Come back to center. Other leg comes in or across. Hug it in. Hand comes out. Again, I'm hanging on to the knee here, really hugging it inward, but I'm also not pushing myself into that twist. So go ahead and take a breath. Soften the face. The center. Good. Bringing the legs in to a fold, cross-legged. Let's take a few breaths here. You can let your gaze drop down toward the floor. You can close your eyes. Let's count the next 8 or so breaths. Just letting the breath come in and out. You don't have to direct it, but just let's see if we can stick with it for 8 breaths. One exhale. 2. And your rhythm might be different than mine. That's no problem. 5. 8. Or maybe your breath was going faster. maybe it's going slower. Either way, I hope you could come back to your breath for 8 times there. Kudos if you could. And thanks for being here today. Please let me know how this class went. Talking about sleep, doing a lot of our mindfulness of being in cardio and still staying in the body, staying with it, and a little bit of Pilates here at the end. So I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope your world is peaceful and feels strong. You feel strong in it, um, and you're seeking support if you need it. Have a great day, everybody. Bye bye.